下面就是我们这个大家要见证的这个历史的这样一个时刻，这个大陆的这个钥匙的交接仪式。Okay, Peter, next is your turn, and we're gonna have this building key handover session. Yeah, from Mr. Peter Tills to our board chair, Mr. Liu Chen. 这是一个激动人心的时刻。从此以后，我们就是这个 building 的主人。我可以自豪地向大家宣布，我们现在是有房子了，有家了。I would like to give the mic to Mr. Peter Tills. Can you give us 2 minutes?
Okay. Oops. You want me to come here? I didn't understand all too much of what you said. But that tells me that you would understand some of what I will say. When we met first, I met with Sean in Nancy's office. That would be my first thanks today to the person who brought us together, Nancy Miller. So I met Sean, and one of the first things he said is, we are a non-for-profit organization. And I said, that's great, because so are we. It wasn't meant to be just turned out like that in our case, right now, in this economic situation. You had limited funds, you didn't want to spend too much, but you wanted a lot for the school, and it was important. We benefited in other ways. That would make me give thanks to someone else who's not here. That would be our partner, banker, lender, which in these days are very hard to work with. So we benefit and profit by being able to reduce our lending exposure and survive and hang in there, because we've got more buildings on this site here. And thereby we benefited or profited, even though in a different way, just like it is for your school. As in any good deal, where everybody should be either laughing or crying, and both parties should have the same expression, and then it's a good closing, which we had yesterday. The subdivision here was a problem, and that would be the third party to thank, and that's the county. They worked with us to the last minute. We handed over papers yesterday, dated I think on the 14th, where the county acknowledged and recorded the subdivision of this complex, allowing us to sell one portion. And again, thanks to Regions Bank to make that happen and possible. Because when you have a lender who gives you money for a big complex and you're selling a portion of it, it gets complicated, trust me. It was. And what I enjoyed the most during those several months was the cooperation with Sean, which was more, I would say, silent than loud, because we just worked on the same issue with the same goal in mind. And we got it done without ever discussing it forever. We just knew what we wanted. We had very concise communications, facts, and ran and worked, and we got it done on time. And I'm very grateful for that. Thank you again. I want to say one brief word about the school. When I learned more about the school, I had a very short thought about an old friend of mine who's a diplomat, who called me to the Middle East a couple of years ago, a territory I had not been familiar with before, a language I had not been familiar with. But he's the person that once worked as a diplomat in Central Europe to create the European, as he called it. And I said, Johan, forget it. Europeans will create themselves over generations by communication, because we are living in a world where communication and contact among people, in spite of those two-dimensional screens that we seem to be locked out of our lives from a lot, requires communication with three-dimensional real people. And that is enhanced by language or understanding, and most of all, the word that triggered my thoughts in your name, which is culture. Everybody has and will retain and needs to retain that culture. So I told my old friend, forget about creating the European. It'll take 100 years before someone will say, I'm a European of German descent or heritage, like an American might say. For 200 years now, I'm an American of Irish descent. So we're all mixing and commingling, and for that we need language to understand, but more basically we need communication to understand each other, to think without even using words. And that to me has become very essential. I was born in Germany, I'm an American citizen, I lived in France where I was educated in part, and I learned that sometimes you can adapt, like I did 3 years ago in the Arab world, to a language that you don't even understand a word, not even after. You don't always have to just learn the technicalities. My My kids grew up the same way. They're American with German heritage. I'm American, born German. Doesn't matter what country it is, it's on a worldwide scale. We all need to talk, communicate, and then things happen, and profits are not profits. The biggest profit in your non-for-profit organization is the real profit, and that is the outcome of what you do here, enhancing communication. And my 5 minutes are over, I guess. You said 2 first, and 5 minutes over either way, I'm sorry. But I wish you all the best, good success, and we will be neighbors, because we will stay in the other 3 buildings on this complex here, or lease them, and we have an office in Buckhead. We are an asset management company, and we will be your neighbors, I guess, for quite some time, unless you grow a little bit faster and buy the other buildings too.
Okay, next, I would like to have Nancy Miller give 2 minutes to speak. Thank you very much.
Thank you. First, I want to move over here. I want to first acknowledge Sean for the hard work and for the care he exhibited in working to find something for the school. I've been looking for a building for my synagogue for 10 years, and we're a nonprofit, and I understand that the first dollar, the last dollar, and every dollar is very important. So he did an outstanding job in representing you and all of those that enjoy the arts in the school. So I've enjoyed working with you. He asked the hard questions, and so you've been well represented, and by the board members that I've had the opportunity and privilege to meet as well. And I also want to thank Sean for allowing this to be at 2 o'clock today. In the Jewish tradition, our holiest day of the year is Yom Kippur. Today is Yom Kippur, and I was able to sneak out of services a few minutes early and be over here, and I go back in a little while, but this is the Day of Atonement where you ask to be put in the book of life for the coming year again. So I thought this was a very auspicious day that your school was going to have this ceremonial opening for that. And as a result of that, I selected in the prayer book that we use on this special day 2 things that I just wanted to read and share with you. One is on communities, and I consider you all to be 20-year-old community, about 20 years old. Communities have a history. In an important sense, they are constituted by their past, and for this reason we can speak of a real community as a community of memory. And I know from the limited Chinese that I don't understand, you were introducing past board members and past folks with the organization. And we don't forget our past. The communities of memory that tie us to the past also turn us to the future as communities.